Yeah, read the disturbance at Gatley Road. We're there now and they're still at it.
I distinctly told you that. What do you listen to, you silly
I'm
old...
telling you, it is not my fault.
So whose fault is it then?
Yours, of course. If you'd been straight in the first place, this would never have happened.
Yeah, what's that supposed to mean?
Morning.
Oh, about time too.
Read the 9-bob note you
Are
are.
you hearing this?
Very difficult not to, sir.
Diabolical liberty.
Listen, you know all about taking liberties, don't you?
No, I'm warning you.
No, I'm warning you. Both of you. Will one of you please tell me what's going on?
He's been doing some building work for me.
Yeah, and I wish I'd never started it at all.
I said one of you.
Repointing the side wall, sticking up a small porch on the back, and renewing some of the guttering. Now, he said it would take him 10 days, but he's been here 3 weeks and more.
That's builders for you.
I was in the Navy, Constable. Chief Petty Officer, 30 years. I'm used to people saying things and meaning them.
Now, listen!
So what you're saying is you're annoyed because he took so long over your guttering?
No. He finished a day or so back. He asked for 1,000 quid in cash. So, I got his money, and one of his blokes comes round in a company van, and I paid him.
So what's the problem?
Ask him. He's the one who wants paying twice.
So it wasn't one of Eddie's men who called on night?
Eddie Hopkins deals with his own payments. Never gets one of his blokes to collect.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that one of them didn't collect this morning, though, without telling Hopkins.
No.
Is this Mr. Knight's description of the man who collected the money?
Yeah, Eddie didn't recognise it.
White, tallish, late teens, dark hair.
He also suggested we talk to Mrs. Hopkins. Apparently his wife's his business partner too.
Right, we're on our way.
This could also be down to an ex-employee, of course. Someone Eddie's got rid of recently, someone with a grudge.
Right.
Yeah. The way he treats people could be quite a few of them.
Now, I understand that Mr. Knight has already shown you this. It's the receipt the caller gave you when he handed over your cash.
Yeah.
And it is one of your receipts.
Like I told your mate, it looks like it. I don't use them much myself. Not for the smaller jobs anyway. I prefer things kept informal.
Well, the less paperwork, the better, eh, Mr. Hopkins?
Something like that.
Well, this has got your company address at the top of it, with the name of yourself and your wife as sole proprietors. So it seems that whoever collected Mr. Knight's cash has also got access to your receipts.
Paper's wrong.
Sorry?
Too shiny, don't feel right.
I don't understand.
It's a photocopy, isn't it?
Oh, so what you're saying is, this is an old receipt with the original details erased and then put through a photocopier.
Give the boy a coconut.
Which means, as well as your employees and ex-employees, this could also be down to any householder you've done work for in the past. Anyone, in fact, who's got a receipt off you and knows what your vans look like.
I mean, I've got to make a list of all the jobs I've ever done.
Well, certainly the most recent ones, yes.
Got dozens of jobs going on at any one time.
Yeah, better make a start then, hadn't you?
Your husband didn't recognise Mr. Knight's description of his collar either, Mrs. Hopkins. But Mr. Knight's description of the van certainly checks out. It's blue with a white stripe down the side.
We've got 4 vans like that. They were all well away from Gatley Road this morning.
What, all the time?
Eddie keeps an eye on them. Make sure the lads are on site.
And one of the lads couldn't have slipped off site for a few minutes this morning, you know? Pick up a bag of cement or make some other little collection. Why do you trust your workforce that much?
I don't trust a single one of them. They're builders, not Boy Scouts.
Right.
But none of them looks like this.
What about one of the lads that used to work for you, you know? White, tallish, dark hair.
Could be Jordan Casals, I suppose.
Who?
Right shifty sod he was. He got the push. Hang on, I'll get his file.
Yeah, right. Do you want a hand?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. There you go.
Smash it. Cheers, Tom.
You and me, Jordan Casals, by any chance, would you?
Yeah.
I'm DC Woods from Sunhill. Can we have a word?
Yeah, what's the problem?
This is a connection with Eddie Hopkins.
Just when I thought today couldn't get any worse.
Hello, I'm DC Carver, Sunhill. I'm calling on a few householders in the area that have recently used a local builder, Eddie Hopkins.
Oh, yeah?
Mr. Hopkins did some work here, I believe, last week, in fact.
That's right, yeah, he was here. Don't know about him doing much work, though.
So you didn't get on too well with him, then?
You could say that.
So you wouldn't be heartbroken to find out he's had a bit of bad luck?
I'd be delighted. You better speak to my dad. He's the one I had to put up with him day in and day out.
Thank you.
We're talking to all Mr. Hopkins' recent ex-employees, Mr. Casals, especially those who worked in the William Knight contract.
I worked on quite a few contracts for Eddie.
Let's just take Gatley Road for now.
Worked on quite a few in Gatley Road, in fact.
It's the William Knight contract we're interested in, Mr. Casals.
Right, number 24, Robin Jones. Still, I don't suppose Eddie mentioned him, did he?
Do you mind telling me where you were around 10 o'clock this morning?
Something happened to Eddie then?
Look, Mr.
I was
Casals.
in the clinic with this one. She's got asthma, had an attack in the night.
And this clinic is?
Elverton Street.
Can't be easy. Bringing up a young girl. You just lost your job.
Nah, this is easy. Working for Eddie now, that was hard.
We'll be checking this clinic out, you know.
Yeah, we'll check out Robin Jones while you're at it. That's the job I was working on when I got sacked.
Yeah, Mrs. Hopkins told me they had to get rid of you.
So why, did she?
Said they caught you moonlighting using their materials.
I was sacked because I sussed one of Eddie's fiddles.
According to Mrs. Hopkins, you were lucky not to be prosecuted.
Repairs to a central heating it was. Only a small job. But then Eddie finds this faulty pump, doesn't he? Tells a punter he needs a new one.
That happens.
Yeah, especially when Eddie puts the faulty pump in himself and keeps a good one out of sight, ready to pop it back in later when the punter okays a repair.
Eddie tell you that himself, did he?
I priced that job. The pump that was in when I first called was a different make from the one Eddie showed the punter. So, I had this big Barney with him, didn't I?
Well, that was very public-spirited of you.
Yeah, well, always have felt a bit funny about stitching punters in their 80s. Anyway, Eddie tells the punter he's made a mistake, the pump's not as bad as he thought. And the next day, he finds an excuse to sack me.
Why didn't you report this?
Because I thought I'd sorted it with Eddie, didn't I? And after he sacked me, what can I do? I'm an ex-employee with a grudge, aren't I? I'd say anything.
Oh, he's full of charm, is our Eddie.
It's everyone's mate when he first calls round.
And his estimates are the lowest on the manor. So he seems like Christmas come early.
Especially when you're trying to organise things from a distance.
I've told you before, it's not your fault, son. And once Eddie's in, he starts with the extras. The bits he says weren't included in the estimate.
So then the price starts going up. Then he wants some of his cash up front, and if you try and object, then his mask slips. And he starts getting really nasty.
Nasty enough to make you want to do something about it, eh?
A few years ago, I'd have done something about him, I can tell you.
Nowhere near number 13 Gatley Road, were you, this morning, Mr. Vadney?
You what?
Because you would have had chance to do something about it then.
And maybe I would have grabbed it with both hands, too. But I haven't been anywhere near Gatley Road, not unless you've invented time travel. I was coming down from Aberdeen this morning. I work up there on the rigs. I got home about, 20 minutes ago?
And make this journey on your own, did you, sir?
Yeah. I take the plane nowadays. Cost me a fortune. But at least it means I spend most of my time at home.
So you can't do anything about this Eddie character?
Well, if he has committed a crime, then yes, of course, sir. Although, I must say, I am surprised Mr. Hopkins is in business at all if he acts as you say.
It's like my dad said. When you first meet him, he's a real charmer.
And I'm also surprised we are not bombarded with complaints from the rest of his punters.
You check the list of punters you got there, son. Check out how many are pensioners. How many are over 65.
They're the ones he targets. The ones guaranteed to be on the lookout to save a few bob. And the ones guaranteed to scare the easiest when he starts shouting the odds.
8-5 from Sierra Oscar.
Go ahead, Ray.
Gatley Road, Matthew, number 13 again. Renewed disturbance.
Lovely.
Friend Eddie does seem to have upset a lot of people.
Every time you turn round, there's more people in the frame for this.
And every one of them seems to be on the side of the angels.
It's tomorrow. Have you got that? And that is it.
What's wrong now, then?
You ask her. She's the one shouting the odds.
And I've got a right to shout the odds and all. Me and Eddie are owed.
Wouldn't be related to Eddie Hopkins by any chance?
Yeah, she's his missus. She says I've got to pay all over again.
Oh, yeah?
I was just trying to point out to Mr. Gullible here that it's not our fault he fell for some con merchant.
Yeah, all right.
Well, he is still liable, isn't he? You tell him, will you? Because he won't believe me.
That's enough.
And I keep telling you I can't pay twice.
And I keep telling you it's not right we should suffer just because you've been stupid.
Mrs. Hopkins,
Like I said, we're still owed.
this is a police matter now, Mrs. Hopkins.
And Eddie will be round tomorrow to collect. All right?
And any more of this will have to do you for breach of the peace.
It's certainly very neat, Matthew.
Well, Mrs. Hopkins didn't waste any time in getting back to Mr. Knight.
So you reckon Eddie sent one of his mates round to pick up the money?
In one of his vans with one of his receipts.
couple of hours later, Eddie turns up, wants the money again. Says the first bloke was a con man.
So Eddie ends up getting paid twice.
I just want to check on our mutual friend.
Don't tell me not even a parking ticket.
Oh, Eddie's got a record, all right. He served a two-stretch about 10 years back.
So what was the conviction?
Fraud.
So the bad penny returns, eh?
Is that a good description of our Eddie?
Actually, he's quite a charm merchant until you get too close. But I suppose he'd have to be, wouldn't he? To operate that scam.
So what exactly was his scam?
Oh, well, he set up these companies, you know, get them off the shelf, 100 quid a time. And he'd target a local builder's merchant, buy some bits of gear off him, get to know the gaffer really well, give him a load of verbals about any jobs he had on the go, then open an account.
The old credit trick, eh?
Yeah, and the routine never varied. He'd buy a load of gear off him on 30-day credit, keep it really sweet for the first 2 or 3 months, and then there'd be a delay. And then here comes the old sob story, you know, Eddie can't pay until Eddie gets paid, and can he have a bit more gear so that he can finish the job? And of course, the merchant knows that he's going to lose the lot if Eddie doesn't finish the job.
So Eddie gets a bit more and a bit more.
That's right, until the merchant pulls the plug, and then Eddie declares his £100 company bankrupt.
So what was he doing with the gear? Knocking it out?
Yeah, to his mates in the trade. And knock down prices. There you go.
And how much did he total before you'd nicked him?
Oh, 20,000 at least, plus one body. Yeah, that's how Frank got onto him in the first place. See, the merchant he pulled the trick on round here was a one-man band. And when Eddie's account went down, he went down too. And he topped himself. Mind you, didn't stop Eddie trying it on 2 more occasions.
Excuse me, mate. Do you work for Eddie Hopkins?
Oh, mate, round about.
DC Wood, Sunhill. I wonder if I could have a word about an incident earlier today.
You mean about Eddie getting ripped off? Couldn't it happen to a nicer bloke?
Here's a break, will you? You know that Kieran, your boss thing?
You don't choose the people you work for these days. I don't work any scam on them, if that's what you're getting at.
Well, there's lots around you, mate.
You said it.
Why don't you like him, then?
Why all the interest in Eddie all of a sudden? I thought you'd have been after the bloke that stitched him.
Just tell me, pal.
That's to say there's a lot of crooks in this business.
Yeah, Mrs. Hopkins did remind me that builders aren't exactly choir boys.
Yeah, right. Well, there's crooks, and there's dangerous crooks.
And now Eddie. He's dangerous, yeah?
We had a sub for this big estate up in the North England a couple of months back. Council contract. Some wee kids started playing on a wall we put up. Collapsed. Luckily, none of them got hurt. But it could have been right nasty. Eddie blamed the suppliers. Suppliers said that Eddie was messing with a mortar. Council just sacked the pair of them.
So who was it down to? Yeah, but you're still working for him, though, aren't you?
Yeah, it's like I said, you don't choose the people you work for these days. I'll tell you one thing, though. Because he lost that contract, he's been right up against it.
Money worries?
Yeah. We did 30 grand. And vans for it for starters. Another 6 and scaffolding, mixers. Never saw a penny at back. That's why he's all worked up over his payment in Gartley Road. He's drowning.
Eddie's got a string of county court judgments against him.
Yeah?
Non-payment of national insurance contributions, non-payment of supplies, at least 15 grand owing in total.
He didn't get that from a CRO check.
Ah, I got it from a mate in a credit agency. Time to have a little chat with a man himself, I think.
Yeah.
So have you got him yet?
Inquiries are proceeding.
So why aren't you out there proceeding with them some more?
I want that money.
Times that hard, are they?
They're never easy, especially with lowlife nicking my dosh.
But you will get it, won't you? I mean, your wife has already made that crystal clear to Mr. Knight.
That's not the point.
So when did you arrange to collect this cash, Mr. Hopkins?
Hey.
Well, you must have given Mr. Knight some sort of notice for him to get it together.
And no one likes leaving that amount of cash lying around for long.
I told him end of the week. I always collect end of the week so I can pay the lads.
And today's Friday.
You really are one of Sunhill's finest, aren't you?
So whoever worked this scam not only knew what your vans looked like and had access to your receipts, but they also knew when you'd be collecting too.
So what are you saying?
What I'm saying is that whoever called Mr. Knight this morning, collected that cash, had one hell of a lot of inside knowledge.
And now you're thinking it might just be us.
Well, at present, we're looking at all possible angles, that's all.
Can you believe this? Now I'm in the frame.
Calm down, Mr. Hopkins.
Hey, look, I'm the victim in all of this, in case you pair of blockheads had forgotten.
It really must be an unusual feeling for you.
You what?
You're not exactly squeaky clean, are you, Mr. Hopkins?
I got into trouble once, OK? Nothing since.
You've not been caught since, no.
And what does that mean?
Well, you do sail a bit close to the wind with your working practices, though, don't you?
You got to these days to survive.
Which we understand you're having trouble doing right now.
Can you believe this? These two have checked out my record. They checked out my bank balance. They checked out my jobs. The only thing they haven't checked out is the toe rag who stitched me.
What do you reckon? Well, it's an inside job. Eddie's got cash worries. He's already been done for obtaining money in a very dodgy fashion. And everywhere we go, it's the same story. He's a vicious bastard.
How long have we known him, Jim?
Hey?
Eddie, when did we first meet up?
A couple of hours?
Yeah. And in a couple of hours, he's got us both wound up so much we could double for Jack in the Box. Think what we'd be like in 3 weeks' time. And that's just how long he's been working for Mr. Knight.
Excuse me, do you live here, sir?
What's it to do with you?
Well, it's not a trick question. DC Carver, Sun Hill. Were you at home this morning, sir?
Yeah, been working on this.
What, all the time?
Well, until I took her out on a test before. And before you ask, I've applied for the tax, OK?
We're making inquiries into an incident that happened this morning, sir.
What sort of incident?
Involving Mr. Knight.
Oh, listen, if anything's happened to old Bosun Bill, it's got nothing at all to do with me.
Well, I'm not suggesting for a minute it has, sir.
But he is. Is that it?
No. Look, as you probably know, Mr. Knight's been having some building work done recently. Look, all we were wondering was, did you see the builder's van turn up this morning?
No.
Are you sure? You didn't see anyone turn up this morning?
I didn't say that, did I?
Sergeant Boyden tells me you're in the Navy, Mr. Knight. Must have been a straightforward sort of life.
Nothing straightforward about some of the places I've been.
Well, there's a code of discipline, isn't there? There's a strict set of rules. So it can't have been easy, coming up against someone who doesn't play by any.
I've come against his type before, don't you worry.
And I suppose you come up with your own ways of dealing with him too, eh?
Helen. I just called all the immediate neighbours and the bloke two doors, you know, the one that was out earlier on.
Yeah, what about him?
Well, he reckons he was outside all this morning fixing the brakes on his motor.
And?
And he says that there was no blue and white van called on Mr. Knight.
Did you see any visitors calling him?
Only the one. Mr. Knight's old mate, Ted Vadney.
Vadney?
He's the bloke I called on earlier this morning.
Another one of Eddie's victims.
Right.
And Vadney and Knight, they're old mates, yeah?
Well, they should be. They're both ex-Navy. They met at Well Island 30-odd years ago, and they've been mates ever since.
My colleague talked to a friend of yours earlier on, Mr. Knight.
Oh, yeah?
Ted Vadney.
He's had one or two bad experiences at Mr. Hopkins' hands, hasn't he?
Has he?
Well, I thought you would have known that, Mr. Knight, with you and him being such good mates.
Now, you said you had just one visitor today, Mr. Knight.
But we understand that Mr. Vadney also called round this morning.
So was that before or after your other caller worked his scamming you and collected your money?
Or was this when you and Mr. Vadney worked out your little scam?
Yeah. All right.
Interview room 1 then, yeah?
Right, Sarge, thanks.
Mr. Hopkins, my officers do have a right to consider all lines of inquiry. So, OK, let's get this straight, Mr. Hopkins. You're alleging my officers victimised you, persecuted you, harassed you, and attempted to pervert the course of justice. Now, are you sure you haven't left anything out?
It wasn't planned. It was more spur of the moment. It was when he called me, he said he'd be round in half an hour to collect his cash, that suddenly come into my head.
To tell him that someone had already been.
And to use a receipt Eddie had previously given to Mr. Vadney as proof.
I tried for weeks to get him to do an half-decent job. And so would Ted. I didn't trust half them extras he'd added on either. But he'd done them before I could get anyone in to make sure they were kosher. I did go to the Citizens and Vice, but they couldn't do much to help me. I even come in here. The girl on the desk was very nice. Said she was very sorry and all that, but this isn't criminal, is it? It's civil.
So you decided to scare Mr. Hopkins yourself?
Seemed worth it at the time. To give him some grief for once. To see that look on his face. Don't seem so clever now.
So what do you think Knight's facing, Sarge? Deception?
That's my guess.
Well, it's that Torag Eddie's really to blame.
You know, that Torag Eddie didn't spin us a tall story, did he?
Yeah, well, that's terrific, isn't it? You get that close to nailing a really nasty piece of work, and you end up nailing one of his victims instead, while the real villain gets away scot-free.
Maybe.
There's no maybes about it, Alan. We just haven't got anything on him.
No, we haven't, no.
I mean, just look at this list of complaints against him.
Right, then.
Where are you going?
We're going down to Eddie's.
What?
Oh, somebody's got to give him the good news. We finally got our man.
Oh, yeah, I really love hearing that from us.
Well, you know what they say. Every dog has his day.
Yeah. And life's a bitch.
A slimy old git.
Just thought you'd like to know.
I'd like to get my hands on him.
That wouldn't be wise, Mr. Hopkins.
So what is happening to him then?
Mr. Knight will be dealt with in full accordance with the law.
Yeah, given a little rap on the knuckles and a lift home in a nice warm cop car, I suppose.
Not quite, Mr. Hopkins, no.
Bet you didn't get the 3rd degree like I did.
Actually, Mr. Knight volunteered a confession himself.
Yeah, and I bet you and your mates nearly choked on your truncheons when he did, eh?
Not exactly, Mr. Hopkins, no.
So what happens now then?
As I said, Mr. Knight will be charged.
I meant regarding our complaint about you. Well, you don't think we're going to leave it at this, do you? You put poor old Eddie right through the mill.
Right.
So, now we'll be taking this up with a higher authority.
Yes, well, fortunately, we've all got higher authorities to call on, Mrs. Hopkins.
What?
This, Mr. Hopkins, is a list of complaints we've collected against you. Shoddy workmanship, excessive bills.
It's got nothing to do with the police.
And you can't touch us for any of it.
No. You're quite right, Mrs. Hopkins. I can't.
So what are you going on about, then?
But I know a man who can. Come here. In all these cases, Mr. Hopkins, you collected payment from the householders in cash.
So?
So the chances are you may not have met this gentleman before. He's very anxious to meet you.
What is this?
Mr. and Mrs. Eddie Hopkins, sole proprietors of Eddie Hopkins Building Contractors Limited. Mr. Arnold Dixon.
And who the hell's Arnold Dixon?
Her Majesty's Customs and Excise. VAT.
Won't do any good, you know.
No?
Well, like you said, all of them are cash payments, and he hardly ever gave receipts when he told me that.
True.
So we'll probably end up denying that most of them were ever paid.
True again. Still worth it, though, isn't it, Jim? Eh? Like Mr. Knight said, just to see that look on his face.
I wonder if his income tax is up to date.